Ma Gesù è uno spirito. Gesù non è uno spirito. Gesù è una persona, è un uomo. Ma Gesù è uno spirito. Gesù non è uno spirito. Gesù è una persona, è un uomo.
Is news from the Vatican tonight, widely described today as something of an earthquake for the Catholic Church. It involves a global gathering of bishops, including the Pope, held behind closed doors, and what could be a dramatic shift in the Church's thinking on the acceptance of gays, and separately how to minister to divorced and remarried Catholics.
The Francis Effect and his vision of a more inclusive church embraced today by the Catholic bishops. In a statement one observer describes as the church thinking out loud, the bishops take a new merciful tone to disaffected Catholics, writing homosexuals have gifts and qualities to offer to the Christian communities. Last year, famously saying about a gay person,
Chi sono io per giudicarla?
"Who am I to judge?"
In an unprecedented show of openness to the real lives of many Catholics today, a Vatican document released Monday said gays should be accepted, and there are positive aspects to a couple living together without being married.
Homosexuals have gifts and qualities to offer the Christian community. Are we capable of welcoming these people, guaranteeing to them a fraternal space in our communities?
We must respect the dignity of every person. And the fact to be homosexual doesn't mean that this dignity must be not recognized and promoted.
For heterosexuals, the bishop said civil weddings and cohabitation should be accepted with the aim of helping the couple commit eventually to a church wedding. Bishops clearly took into account the views of Pope Francis, who has urged a new tone of welcome for the church.
The question is this an example of Pope Francis trying to take the church in new directions, open it up, without changing or assaulting doctrine?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Charlie. I'd say you're on to something. Pope Francis has the challenge that any successor of St. Peter, any pope would have, namely how to be true to the timeless, unchanging teaching of the church, but yet trying to find creative, fresh, invigorating ways to present it. Pope Francis has captured the imagination of the world in trying to do that, and this would be a good example. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I don't think, I note a remarkable unanimity and enthusiastic backing of the Holy Father's attempt to present the teaching of the church in a fresh, exciting, enchanting new way. There's unanimity there, Charlie.
Cardinal, this report, which was written by a committee handpicked by Pope Francis, I've read through it. It's 11 pages, and I want to go specifically to the parts that have become so controversial. There is a section that says, welcoming homosexual persons, and it says this: homosexuals have gifts and qualities to offer the Christian community.
On the eve of the next Supreme Court term, the annual Red Mass held in Washington today. The Catholic service is held to bless those responsible for the administration of justice. It dates back to the Middle Ages. It's called the Red Mass because of the color of the garment once worn by judges. Supreme Court members have been attending the Red Mass here in Washington for decades.
Another possible step for the Pope may be the UN General Assembly, just up I-95 in New York. There, Archbishop Cardinal Timothy Dolan has been publicly angling for a Big Apple papal visit. It just so happens the trip will coincide with the annual meeting of world leaders. But the Philly visit will be a big boon for the Latino Catholics who have propelled the church's growth in the U.S.
I think he brings something to the table as a Latin American Pope that others may not have brought.
Ma Gesù è uno spirito. Gesù non è uno spirito. Gesù è una persona, è un uomo. Ma Gesù è uno spirito. Gesù non è uno spirito. Gesù è una persona, è un uomo.